Sarah, it's very nice to meet you all. I'm writing the grant applications for our event, the TGCPS project, and so I came across a grant opportunity that was too good to be dismissed. Is the theater individual funding provided by the Alberta Foundation for the Arts, and so this funding can provide up to $15,000 to support the development of individual or ensembles of theater professional or emerging artists. And the deadline for applying for this grant is quite soon. It's March 1st, but the reason why we wanted to have this webinar was to let you guys know that the application process is actually quite simple. And if you are hoping to apply for it, there's still time to do that. And also, I'm more than happy to help you to make sure that you meet the deadline. First of all, you and everyone in your group who you're hoping to apply for them on their behalf should be obviously a legal resident of Canada. They should be legally able to work in Canada, and they should be living in Alberta for the last full year, or they should have spent 6 months of each year of their residence if they are already ordinary living in Alberta. And so another criteria is that they shouldn't have any open outstanding projects with FAA. So if you've applied for some other grants and you're kind of still waiting to hear, then you cannot apply for this one. And so all these criteria applies to everyone in your team that you're hoping to get the grant for. And everyone should meet these criteria. However, only one application should be submitted if you're hoping to get the grant for the ensemble of artists in your team. The very good thing about this grant is that the information is already very clear on their website, and they have a full guide, step-by-step guide that explains how to apply and how to ensure that your application is complete. TGCPS would fall under the category of training and career development for individual artists. Enrollment in a course or program or study designed to develop an artist training in theater. So I've already also reached out to the consultant of this grant, and they have approved that this is an eligible project for attendees of our conference. So the types of projects that are eligible could be workshops, classes, retreats, and obviously a conference like ours. Yeah, another great thing about this grant is that it potentially can cover 100% of the expenses, as long as they are considered eligible expenses. What I highlighted here is that the eligible expenses could be the transportation and accommodation costs, tuition and training fees, which means that your registration fee could be covered. And also for the time that you're living there in the city of GP, your basic living costs could be covered, housing and local transport and everything. So as long as you have a realistic budget sort of estimated and you justify all of your expenses, they are good to be covered under this grant. Let's just go through the application process quickly. If you've already applied for grants for the Alberta Foundation for Arts, you're familiar with their application system. They have GATE, Demonstration and Track and Evaluation is their online application system. Every application is sort of the similar process. It goes through this GATE, and their deadline, March 1st, would be on the midnight of that day. Before you do that, so that's always a part of applying for grants, you want to sign up for an account on their website. So in this case, you have to email the registration affta.ab.ca at least 5 days prior to the deadline. So you want to email them at least 5 days before March 1st to be able to create your account first. And also, it can be sometimes tricky, and they might be busy if you email them right 5 days prior. So if you're really considering, I just like recommend emailing today. It's a simple thing. All they need you to include in your email is your name, and the funding opportunity to which you're applying for, which would be the title of this grant. So individual, theater, funding, and your email address. So once you hear back from them, they provide you with a password and a username to be able to sign in into their system. It's highly recommended that you download the GATE front office user guide, which is the guide, the step-by-step guide towards how to make your application and submit it. Also, my experience with just writing grants is that every information you need to know is available usually on the guides, and you just have to really study it carefully. So it's very important to go through their guide before getting started with submission. So the documents you need to include are the documents comes right after. Okay, first of all, the basically the abstract or the summary of what you're hoping to apply for would be one of them. So your general information and a short project description. I've already written a sample here, and I'll be available to help you with whatever that has to do with writing about our project at TGCPS. So don't hesitate to reach out to me when you are hoping to just write a description about the conference. So for example, a brief description up to 20 words could be a networking conference for Canadian theatre, which addresses the industry challenges and increases the production possibilities through workshops and talent showcase. And then, so you need to make a list of all the principal artists that, in case you're applying for the ensemble of artists in your team, you need to include all their names. Of course, there's individual applicant agreements, so just a declaration that everyone agrees with the conditions and their information being on the application. And then, like I said, the important part would be listing of all the expenditures in Canadian dollar, which means that everything that you can sort of justify to be an expense because of wanting to attend this training program or this opportunity could be in your expense report. And so there's something else called a project revenue. So if you have any listing of any non-FAA revenues in Canadian dollar, what it means is that if you already have some funds, it will be, so what they're willing to give you then would be the difference between these two reports. So if you're hoping to get, for example, the full 15,000, make sure that the difference is 15,000, not just the expenses. And if you're not even having any project revenue, then don't even put anything but zero for this one. So what it says clearly is that the difference between these two will be comprised the grants request. You want to have your resume no more than 4 pages. If it's for the group, everyone's resume should be included. Depending on how experienced or how experienced you are, you want to make sure that your resume covers a little bit of your background, if it's education or if it's actual the other experience. So it's great to include those detail on your resume. And another important document would be a detailed description of the Great Canadian Playwright Showcase, which I'll be happy to provide you with that. So this would be the part that they will go through to make sure that this program is eligible for receiving the funding. Part of it is that, so to just make sure that you're not missing on any detail about the program, we can definitely do this part together. It's helpful for application if you already have a confirmation of registration for the event, or if you have your flight tickets, or I guess not flying, but so you know what I mean, like anything that you've already spent towards attending the conference that shows that you're definitely going to do this program. Just a few notes about what makes your application stronger, or what they're looking to see in your application from the way that described that the application would be assessed, is that so you want to be very well written when you want to say how the project is going to impact your personal development or your personal career development. And also you want to generalize it to the artistic genre in Alberta, because at the end of the day, all these grants are the taxpayer money. And so as long as you explain how by receiving this grant you will improve the artistic genre in Alberta as well as your own career opportunities, then that's something that they'll be happy to help you with. And so, yeah, you want to make sure that you showcase yourself as an artist properly through the application. It's important that they feel like you have what it takes to actually make use of this program. So it says that the artistic, educational, or promotional merit of the project, the appropriateness of the project budget, showing, like we talked about this one as well. So your budget list would be very important. And the ability of the applicants to carry out the project, which in this case would be how well you will represent yourself and your talent, and how well you will describe how the program is going to help you individually. So for example, like this all would be, first of all, depending on what is your art. If you're hoping to like find collaborators on creating this production that you already have the script for, then this is a great opportunity, and this is a great reason for them to want to provide you with this funding, because it's going to help you with your next career production. Yeah. So another thing, personal objectives. Again, that would be how well you describe your objectives behind attending the program. And so what it says about the timeline of them giving you a response is 4 to 6 months after the deadline. So it will be definitely after the event, but that's usually how long all the governmental grants decisions take. So that's actually pretty short compared. And then another great thing about this opportunity is that they have a lot of helpful resources, including already like sample applications that you can go through. So aside from the guide, you can read application tips that is put on their own website. You can download a video submission instruction for any theater applications that they've had before. Again, lots of good resources, as well as their consultant that I've been in touch with for a while. So Judy is their art department consultant of the FAA, and I've reached out to her multiple times through her email. She's very well responsive, and yeah, she will like answer all your questions in detail if there's like particular questions that you couldn't find the answer for through their guides. Yeah, that's most of what I wanted to point out, but please let me know if you have any questions now.
Fantastic info. Thank you.
That was wonderful. It was a great presentation.
Is there a question in chat? Oh, of course. You're welcome, Deborah. Glad that I could do this before the deadline, really. Yeah, another one point I wanted to mention is that honestly, if you don't have a team, this is still a great opportunity, especially because it's a big fun, and I think even like one like like even 1/4 of the grant could really cover the cost of one individual attending the conference. Um, so don't hesitate to apply as one individual for this, because who knows, like maybe they have extra funds and they can actually give this one to multiple applicants. That's usually the case. Um, so yeah, because that's what I was told by the consultant when I reached out. I was hoping to actually apply for this grant for us, and then what they told me is that this is a perfect um, program from the other end of the project, which would be who wants to attend it, not us as the holders of the program. Yeah, so again, if you're really hoping to meet the deadline, I'm more than happy to help you along